Welcome to the eCom School Podcast, where you'll discover the hidden secrets behind 6, 7, and 8-figure eCom stores. Here's your host, e-commerce legend and founder of the eCom School, Daniel Taylor.
Welcome to the eCom Show Podcast. It's your host, Daniel Taylor, aka the Prophet of All Prophets. And in this show, we have a very special topic. I'm going to be giving you the 3 secrets of 7-figure ecom stores, okay? So if you ever wanted to know how do you get to 7 figures, what do they do differently, what you need to have in place, well, this is the podcast. This is the episodes you want to pay close attention to. Get your notepad and your pen, because I'm going to give you the 3 secrets. Now, how do I know these secrets? Because I've built 7-figure ecom stores myself, personally, with my own money. And I've also coached clients, and also our students have reached 7-figure ecom stores and beyond, some 8 figures. So I've seen it over and over and over again. And these are the things that you have to have in place. It's really a pattern. It's really a system. It's like building a house. It's like there's certain things, if you know how to build a house, you have to have these structures in place, whether it be the foundation, whether it be the walls, whether it be the roof, whatever the case may be, plumbing. There's certain things that every house has to have in place when it's built in order for it to be a livable house. And so in order to have a 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure e-commerce store, there are 3 things that you have to have in place. And these are the 3 principles that you have to have in place. Okay. So we're going to get to that in 1 second. But first, I want to just reiterate this for those out there that may be just getting into e-commerce. E-commerce is the greatest economic opportunity in the history of the planet. I don't think there's anything ever been as far as helping people make money. I don't think there's anything that's ever been on the planet that's been a greater opportunity in e-commerce. And here's why. You can sell to people all over the world, not just locally. So, when you open up a store, you're on the corner. So you have to have a corner with a lot of traffic, foot traffic or driving traffic. And you only can sell to the people locally who are looking for products that you have to offer, and only within a certain mile radius, right? And then there's going to be huge competition, because if you open up a burger stand, you're competing with the chicken, spot across the street. You're competing with the other burger stand that's up the street. You're competing with other food places. So the competition is stiff, and you guys only can serve the same people. So if I'm hungry and I'm on a street corner and there's 4 options, you're competing with the other 3 options, right? And some people are going to choose the chicken place over your burger place. So this is the problem with local businesses, right? And on top of that, the startup cost is way more. And we'll get into that in a second. But, the difference is enormous between a store locally and a digital store, an e-commerce store. Another thing is huge ad networks make it easy and cheap to reach customers globally. So I want you to think about that. That's an opportunity right now. Think about how expensive it was to run a commercial. So if you had a local store, to run a local commercial, you had to have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to run a commercial. In, let's say, an international commercial to reach people all over the world. You're talking millions of dollars. Now for $500, you can reach tens of thousands of people all over the planet and let them know about your store and your products, and they can come and purchase instantly. We've never seen nothing like this, okay? The low startup costs. A Shopify store is $30 a month, and a few apps, let's say you're spending about $50 a month, and you can have an actual store that people can spend money and purchase things. Think about before the internet, or before e-commerce took off, you open up a store, you have to have a lease. That's tens of thousands of dollars. You have to, have storage space. You have to have warehousing space. You have to have human beings actually work the place, right? Stock the place. You have to have human beings do the register. Then you may, you're open to robberies and people stealing. There's so much that comes with a local location that the failure rate, that's why it's through the roof, because it took so much to get started. You're already $30,000, $40,000 in debt before you even start to make money in your business. So this is why, when they say 98% of businesses fail, is because this is before e-commerce. Okay? So e-commerce to me is literally like printing money. You're printing money, and it's 24/7. It never needs rest or need an employee in order for the transaction to happen. Meaning that yeah, you may have customer service employees and they may work, 5 days a week or whatever. You have a team that does certain things. But in order for people to buy stuff, it doesn't require a human being. So when you go into a store, you have human beings in there, whether now they have automated checkout, but you still have to have human beings stocking the shelf. You have to have cashiers. You have to have security to make sure people actually check out, right? You can't just have nobody in there. And then what's going to happen? Some people will just start taking stuff and walking out. With e-commerce, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, okay? You don't have to worry about people stealing. See, this is the difference. And so I want you to really take heed to the opportunity and don't pass this up. Do everything you can to make sure your e-commerce business is successful, because this is a window of opportunity like never before. And there's no limit to how much money you can make and how fast you can make it. It's really up to the imagination. Most people that I find that get in e-commerce, they're limited by what they've made on their job. So if they can't imagine making, $100,000 a month because they've only made $80,000 a year on their job. So their mind keeps going back to what the people around them have made, or what their friends and family have made, what they've made working a job. But this is altogether different. There is no limits. You could sell products all over the planet, right? From your website, from your phone. So this is unlike anything that we've ever experienced in terms of being able to make money, right? 24/7. And this is my opinion. That's why I preach the gospel of e-commerce, is because with jobs going away due to technology, okay, buying and selling products on the internet will always be here. So if we go back to 500 years ago, you would see people buying and selling, merchants. People had their little carts or shops or whatever they had on the roads, 500 years ago, and they would be buying and selling, because trading always is going to happen. People are going to want products, and it has to move from one place to another, from one person to another. So buying and selling is always going to be here. What e-commerce has done is made the ability to do it worldwide at scale available to all of us, to where there's no limit, only limited by our imagination of what's possible for us. And jobs are going to be going away. With automation, you got to think truck drivers will be going away. A lot of these industries where if a robot can do the work, a robot will be doing the work. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of job loss within the next 10 years. Okay. And within the next few years, it's already happening, but in the next 10 years, I can't even imagine anything that a robot can do. They'll be able to do better than a human being. So engineers will always have jobs, obviously, but a lot of sectors are going away. And the only thing that's going to save people is the ability to sell products on the internet, e-commerce. That's why everyone, in my opinion, should have an e-commerce store. It's very cheap, and you can, even if you're only making an extra $3,000-$4,000 a month, that's still good. That's extra on top of what you're already making. So that's just my little pitch there, that e-commerce is the wave of the future, and it's the right now. And it's the biggest opportunity. Don't let it pass you by. Okay. So now we're going to get into the 3 secrets of the 7-figure e-com stores, right? So I'm going to give you 3 secrets of and it's really 7, 8, 9 figures and beyond. Anything over 7 figures has all 3 of these in place. Now, every and we'll call them pillars, okay? I call them secrets because it sounds better, ooh, it's a secret. And I don't care what they sell, they have to have these 3 pillars, right? And if you do these 3 things correctly, if you have these 3 pillars in your e-commerce business, you're going to be successful. You'll get to 6, 7 figures and beyond. Now, it's not just having them. You have to do them correctly. So let me say that. You have to do them properly so you can have them. But if you don't have the right strategy behind what you're doing and you're doing it incorrectly, then it doesn't matter. You might as well not even do it. But if you do it correctly and you have it in your business, you have it in you have these 3 pillars in your e-commerce business, and it's done correctly and set up right, then you will be at 7 figures. It's impossible not to be at 7 figures, okay? So your main focus should be getting these 3 pillars right, and in the order that I'm going to give them to you. They have to be done in the proper order, okay? Now, there's the 3 secrets, or the 3 pillars, are what we call at the e-com school front-end flow, middle flow, and back-end flow. Those are the 3 pillars, and I'm going to explain what those mean, okay? I'm going to break each down in depth and how you can apply them to your e-commerce business. So the first one is front-end flow. So that's your customer acquisition system. That's your paid advertising. That's how you get new customers into your business. So every 7-figure beyond business has a paid customer acquisition system. That's their front end flow, right? Because you have to be getting a flow of new customers in every single day in order to be making 7, 8, 9 figures plus, right? Even 6 figures. So that really is for every business that's making e-commerce business making money. You got to have your front end flow, right? But that's not enough. That's not going to get you to 7, 8 figures and beyond, right? That's going to get you started. The next is the middle flow, right? Your middle flow is going to be your upsells and cross sales. The point of that is to increase your average order value, and we'll go over some strategies for middle flow as well, but that's your upsells and your cross sales while someone's purchasing and actively buying on your site. And the third pillar is going to be your back end flow. That's going to be your email follow-up, SMS follow-up, phone follow-up, however you're getting customer to repurchase. So that's getting people who've already bought from you, okay, to come back and buy more stuff from you. And if you have those 3 flows dialed in, it's no way to lose. You're going to be a 7-figure e-commerce business. And not only that, you'll probably end up getting to 8 figures and beyond if you continue to increase your customer acquisition rate. So now we'll get into I'll break down each one for you so you can kind of see how to apply it to your business, your particular e-commerce business, okay? So the front end flow. So remember, this is your system for acquiring new customers. How are you getting people to purchase your product on a daily basis? New people that have never heard of you or that have never bought anything from you in the past. Now, your business will die without a way of profitably acquiring new customers, right? So if you don't have a system, not PR, not earned media, not social media, because none of those are consistent. The only thing that's consistent is paid advertising. You have to have paid advertising channels that convert profitably. And once you're able to do that, you'll have a consistent stream of customers. And not only that, you're protected from social media is not protected. Like one day you could be showing your products to your fan base on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and next day your media is banned or you shadow banned or they stop showing it or they change the algorithm and your stuff doesn't show up anymore like it used to. And it's very inconsistent, right? You have to keep posting and hopefully that it catches on. This is not a consistent way of growing a company. Media, earned media, meaning like PR and stuff like that, that's not great either because those are one-time events. You can't build a sustainable 7-figure, 8-figure e-commerce business off one-time events. You need a consistent stream, okay? So every 7-figure e-commerce business has at least one dialed-in paid acquisition channel, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Google, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, whatever they're doing, they have at least one. Usually they have multiple, and one is dialed in the most. So like they get probably 75% of their customers from one channel, and they use the other channels to retarget, etc. So, I always suggest Facebook and Instagram, dial those in first, but you can dial in Google first, but you need to find one channel where your customers are at, and you're going to dialing it in means that you're profitable, meaning that you've did all your tests. You see what works the best, you see what targeting works, and it's dialed in. You have a system, and you systematically can run paid ads on that platform and get profitable customers, okay? They have their, now the front end flow as well. You need to have your flagship product sales pitch dialed in. So most e-commerce business that we run to that are under, let's say, $10,000 a month, they don't even know about a flagship product. They don't even have flagship products, meaning that there's a product on your site, on your e-commerce site, that outsells all the rest of them, right? So like 80% of your revenue sales would be coming from 20% of your products. So a flagship product is the product that people want the most, the product that your business is going to lean on, and that's what you advertise because that's the most desired product that you have on your e-commerce site, okay? So let's say if you're selling hair care products, right? You're going to have something that everybody wants. Maybe it's the hair growth oil. Maybe it's the beard shine or whatever it is. That's what you're going to go advertise. And you build an entire sales pitch around that flagship product because that's what you're going to use to acquire customers. Okay. Now, the next thing is they know how much it costs for them to acquire a customer on their flagship product. See, when you don't have a flagship product and you just have one of the biggest mistakes is you start just advertising to your catalog and you don't have a flagship product, because what ends up happening is you don't know how much it's costing you to acquire a customer. You don't have an average order value. So that way you can know what it takes to break even and what it takes to be profitable. When you have that flagship product, let's say your flagship oil is $35, just saying $35, is your profit margin, then you know that on paid ads, you can spend up to $35 to be able to get a customer before you start losing money, right? So that's why you need a flagship product, because now you can start doing your numbers and calculations, because when you have 10 or 12 products you're advertising, they all have different prices and product margins. And so it's hard for you to get a grasp on what's going on in your business. So that's why companies have flagship products, because it makes the math so much easier. All right. And then another thing is from your front end flow, they know how much that customer is going to be worth to them, let's say in a month or 6 months or whatever, because they have their numbers dialed in, their middle, their back end. So they know, like, every customer that comes in and buys this beard oil over the next 3 months, or this hair oil over the next 3 months, they're going to buy a comb, they're going to buy a razor. So we're going to actually make $100 off of them over the next 3 months on average. So now that lets them know how much the customer is worth and how much they can spend to acquire that customer. Because if the customer is going to spend, let's say, $100 over, in terms of profit margin, not in revenue, let's say $100 in profit over the next 3 months, then you could spend $50 to acquire that customer today, and you may even lose $10 on the front end. And that's why I said that you can't just copy people, because you don't understand their model. They may be losing on the front end, and they know that on the back end they're going to make their money. So a lot of bigger e-commerce companies work that way, because they have cash flow reserves. So they're not trying to, every sale isn't, they need to make profit in order to keep the lights on. So once you get past that phase, you have, months and months and years of money in the bank. You don't have to worry about squeezing every dollar out of the customer to try to make a profit up front, because over the next 3 months they'll be back. Okay, so that's your front end flow dialed in. Every 7-figure company plus e-commerce company has this front end flow dialed in. Now, if you have the front end flow dialed in, not the other stuff, you probably can get to about $10,000 to $20,000 a month with just this front end flow. Okay, possibly you'd be stretching at about $30,000 to $40,000 a month in terms of your sales and revenue. But you're stretching it at that point, right? And you're losing a lot of money, of opportunity money at that point. So you don't really want to be at $50,000 or $60,000, $80,000 in revenue a month with only a front end flow without the other two, because every customer that buys, you're missing out on more money, right? So you don't want to be sending a whole bunch of customers through there without the rest of your flows dialed in. So that's why once you get to 10K per month or 15K per month, you want to start now focusing on dialing in these other flows. Okay, so the next is the middle flow. Now, what's the middle flow? The middle flow is your upsells and cross sales, right? And this is the point. There's only one point in running these. These are to boost your average order value. So let's say you're advertising your beard oil or your hair oil. Now, what you want to do is you want to try to get them to purchase something that's complementary to the same thing you just sold. Okay, so there's two types of ways of doing it. There's the in-cart upsell, and we only preach two ways. Now, there's a bunch of other upsells. We don't never suggest having it at the bottom of your product page. The way we like to do it is the in-cart upsell, right? So in-cart, you have an upsell, and it's just one upsell, and it's very specific to that product that they're buying. So if it either complements or it's more of the same product if that product runs out. Okay, so that's the in-cart upsell, or you can call it cross-sell as well. Now, after that, they may purchase, they check out, and they pay for the items. We do what's called a one-click post-purchase upsell. Now, post-purchase upsells are after they pay, then we try to get them to buy something else, either the same stuff but more of it, or a complimentary product for a discount. So if they're buying beard oil and they're buying a hair oil, then we'll and they purchase it, they check out. Post purchase, we'll say, hey, you're gonna need a comb as well, and here's a razor to go when you shave. So we'll give them some type of upsell to go with what they just bought. Or we may say, buy more and save. Your beard oil is gonna run out in 30 days. How about getting 4 bottles? So that way it lasts for 6 months or whatever. And another thing that you can upsell is, you'll see this a lot, is subscriptions, right? So if, let's say you have something that runs out. So you're selling, let's say, a herbal supplement or some type of tea, or maybe it's like a shake or some type of protein powder, or anything that people use up. It could be lotion, it could be oils, anything that's actually used. A good thing to do is subscription based, meaning that every month they pay a fee and automatically it comes out, and then you send them the product automatically, because they're going to need it anyway. So this is a big model, because you're getting reoccurring money, and this is actually the best model if you're able to do it. Now, all companies aren't able to do it, because you have to have a product that gets consumed over 30 days, right? And so that's why you want to make sure and package it to where it's consumed up by the 30-day, and then you send them some more after the next 30 days automatically. Now, this gets your lifetime customer value up tremendously. Okay, so that's the best thing to do, is to have a subscription-based program, and it changes your entire company. But like I said, all companies aren't able, every e-commerce business isn't equipped to have that, right? So if you're selling something that just doesn't need to be, like you're selling like picture frames, like they probably don't need that every single month. Or if you're selling, a fishing rod, maybe you do a subscription on a lure or something like that. Or you're doing some type of lights or microphones. I mean, that's something that they don't necessarily need to buy every single month. But these are different upsells and cross-sells that you want to have dialed in. So every 7-figure company or beyond that's e-commerce, you'll notice when you click, they're trying to sell you more stuff. Okay, either before you purchase and after you purchase. So that's called the middle flow. So you want to have your middle flow dialed in. I want to be very clear, just having it isn't, there's a strategy behind all of this. So you don't just because you put an upsell there doesn't mean that you're going to get to 7 figures or people are even going to buy it. There's specific strategies that go with creating an upsell that converts really well. There's specific strategies with creating a post-purchase upsell that converts really well. Just having one isn't going to cut it. You have to have the proper strategies. And I say that because you'll get people who say, well, I have upsells and it ain't working for me. Well, of course it's not, because the upsell isn't just the thing. It's the strategy behind the upsell. What's the complementary product that you're selling with your upsells? What are you saying? What's the persuasion behind it? What is the whole idea behind it? And that's even more important than just having the upsell. Okay? So that's the middle flow. The next flow is the back end flow. Okay, so the back end flow is your email marketing follow up. That means your promotions, events, birthdays. So this is after they've purchased, they've gone off your site, they're using your product, and you follow up and try to get them to buy more products, basically. So that's your back end flow. Very important. And people that own e-commerce stores in general do not follow up enough on the back end in order to increase their sales and their profits. There's so many examples of this. We had a client a student actually, who sold gun holsters, and they were making a fortune selling these gun holsters. And we said, okay, well, do you follow up with your customers? And they were like, no. I said, well, they probably have either more than one gun, or they want to use. They have the hip holster, but maybe they want the ankle holster. Maybe they want the CrossFit. Like, there's different things they could sell them. Or maybe they just want to buy a different color. Like, hit them up, contact them, and see. Like, send out a mass email. And so this particular student, they added $25,000 in one email sequence. That means 4-day emails. We do email sequences in 4 days. They did an email sequence, and in 4 days, they made $25,000 extra, right? And so that's all profit in the sense of you're not spending any more money to acquire them on ads. So the back end needs to be dialed in. We suggest at least 3 times a week you should be sending and reaching out to your customers, send out emails. And if you look at the major companies, they probably contact like Starbucks and these other places. They're contacting you every day with promotions and sales and coupons. And that's what you should be doing because you're an e-commerce store. That's what you should be doing. right? And that gets people to come back and purchase. Now, some owners feel like, well, I don't want to bug them and all that stuff. Then you shouldn't be in business. You're not bugging people. Like, you give them the coupons and saying, hey, come back and buy some stuff. You gotta stay in business, right? And if you don't get them back to your site to buy more stuff, they're not gonna never do it. They'll spend that money somewhere else. So get them back on your site. Another way to do it is SMS follow-up, meaning texting. Now you have to be careful and make sure you get the right, what do you call it? They have to agree to it, but SMS follow-up. And so or the right consent is what I was looking for, excuse me. And, text them. And the best thing to text that we find that works great is you can text a sale. Like, hey, we're having 20% off. Here's a coupon code. That works really well, right? And I wouldn't suggest flooding their text, obviously, because, that gets annoying and they'd probably, block you. But ultimately, if you text, let's say, every other week with a nice big promotion, you'll get them back. And ultimately, if you can get your reoccurring customers rate up, I mean, you're gonna be way far ahead of your competitors, because most of them don't do that. And then you can spend more money on the front end to acquire your customer, because you're gonna make it back on the back end. Another little known one that I know that probably 99% of e-commerce stores will never do, but it's still very effective. I have a few clients who do this and it works really well, is direct mail, like sending out postcards to your customers, right? And then getting them back that way. Send them in the mail a postcard that says, hey, thanks for your business. I really appreciate it. If you need something else, XYZ, here's a 25% off code, or here's a $10 gift card to our store. And that $10 gets them to come back on the store, and they end up buying other things, right? That's the point of that, right? You give them a gift card in the mail. They say, oh, I appreciate it. They're going to feel thankful. But ultimately, the goal is to get them back to your site so they can buy more stuff. So direct mail works really good. And one that I know for a fact that you probably would never do, because you're probably scared of it, is a phone sales team. Right, where when someone purchases, you have someone call and say, hey, thank you for your order. Just want to know if there's anything else you might need. And then you sell them something on the phone at a discount. Say, hey, I can give you a 30% discount. I can take care of that for you right now. That would literally skyrocket any e-commerce business's sales. And that used to be a popular thing back in the day before the whole e-commerce thing came around. If you bought something through those infomercials or something like that, they would call you and they would sell through the phone, because it's very, very effective. Like, I could literally go through, if I took a e-commerce company, right, that's doing $10,000 a month, and I said, give me your customer list and give me your phone numbers, I could go in there and double their sales, guaranteed, because I could get on that phone and sell them other stuff. Because if they bought one thing, they probably need a few other things as well, right, that complement whatever it is you're trying to sell. And then, so like, imagine if they bought just a beard oil, but they didn't get the subscription. You can call them, have a rep call them and say, hey, I noticed you got that. What did you need it for? Oh, well, you're probably going to run out. Did you like me to sign you up for our subscription program so you can, so you can make sure have a new bottle there already, so you don't have to think about it. You never miss a day. Now, see, that would, think about you. Just me saying that, you probably like, man, that would increase sales. Now, most e-commerce businesses are scared of that, because you probably got into e-commerce because you wanted to kind of stay behind the scenes and just kind of make money. So, but a sales team is still phenomenal. If you have that and you put that in place, even not even a whole team, you just need two. If you have two people or just one person calling your customers every time they purchase and ask them if they needed more stuff, and sold them more stuff, I mean, you would be, and make sure you get the right consent or whatever, yada. Make sure you're within regulations, but I mean, you would literally, crush it with that. So those are the three flows. So let's go over it again. If you want to have a 7-figure e-commerce business, and if you have a e-commerce business that's not at even 5 figures yet or 6 figures yet, and it's already up, but you're just not getting customers, you got to focus on your front end flow. So if you're only at 10K, if you're not at 10K a month consistently yet, that means your front end flow is not there. You don't have your paid ads dialed in with a flagship product that's dialed in and getting customers consistently. So that's what your whole focus should be. Once you get to about 10 to 15K per month, then your whole focus should be middle flow. That you should be thinking about, how can we dial in these upsells, down sales, cross sales, post-purchase upsells, and you keep honing that in and crafting that in until you're getting, 20 to 30% upsell rates, upsell take rates. maybe even get to 40%. But if you're at 20 to 30%, you're doing really good. So for out of every 10 customers, 3 people take your upsells. That's going to be significant, right? And maybe you can get higher than that, but just even if you got to 20%, you're doing better because it doesn't cost you anything. They're already there buying something. Now you just up how much they bought. Okay? So you should be working on middle flow. Once you get to about 40,000, your middle flow is there. You're at about I would say $25,000, $30,000 a month. You're starting to get to those type of heights. You're at $1,000 a day. Now you need to really be dialing in your back end flow. Doesn't mean you might already have some of this stuff in place, but it's not dialed in for sure. So you need to be dialing in your follow up, your email marketing. Are you emailing them, 2 days after purchase and having a workflow where they get emailed at least, twice a week, offering other products, seeing what else they need. Are you, doing your SMS following up? Are you hitting them with coupons or gift cards? So that's the back end flow. And so that's going to carry you to your 6 figures a month, 7-figure mark. And then from there, it just becomes dialing in all this stuff even better, increasing your ad spend, and putting more people through those flows, right? So that means more advertising, then you start getting to 8 figures and all that type of stuff. But as you can see, everyone has these flows. So if you implement these flows, you're going to get to that level, right? If you implement them properly, okay? Now, even big businesses have these flows. So if you look at like the biggest businesses, e-commerce businesses, they all work on these workflows. Okay, so if you don't believe me, just go check it out. You'll see, man, they do have all this stuff. Okay, so if you're not at 10K per month yet, right? If you're not at 10 to 15K per month, then I would strongly suggest that you look into the eCom School's eCom Accelerator, because that's where you're gonna learn and how to run paid ads and get that front end flow dialed in, so you can get 10K per month consistently, because and profitably. Because an event is not enough. Doing it one time, you need to have a marketing system, a customer acquisition system that gets it day in and day out, that brings you new customers day in and day out. Now, if that's something you want, I suggest join the eCom School's eCom Accelerator. Now, we not only give you the blueprint to 10K per month, right? We help you implement the blueprint. And then we also have a community to help cheer you on as well. So if that's something you're interested in, then I would go to the ecomschool.com/learn. Okay, that's the ecomschool.com/learn. And then you'll learn more there about the eCom School Accelerator. Okay, so that's the ecomschool.com/learn. And you can find out more information about the eCom School, the eCom Accelerator program, which, again, if you're making less than 10K per month consistently and you don't have a customer acquisition system, your paid ads aren't converting like you thought they would, then that means you need to learn how to do it. And that's what we do, is we teach you and then show you how to implement it for your specific e-commerce business. Okay, so if you already have it up. Now, we don't take e-commerce business in that program that aren't already up and running. So we don't show you how to find products and none of that type of stuff. You should already have your product sourced. You should already have your e-commerce store up. Your problem is getting customers consistently, and you're not making $10,000 per month yet consistently. So if that's your problem, then this is the program for you. Okay, if you're making over $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month in your e-commerce business, this isn't the program for you. Okay, and if you don't have nothing up, if you're just like a entrepreneur, you're like, oh, I'm gonna do something, I want it. This ain't for you. It's for those who already put in the work. You have it up. You just need a system now. You're ready to go to the next level. Then I would suggest you go to the ecomschool.com/learn. The ecomschool.com/learn. All right, that's it for today. See you in the next episode.